Hi, I'm Peter Capaldi. I play the Doctor, and you're watching EMS Productions.
Hello everybody, and welcome along to today's video where I'm going to be having a quick look back at Series 10 so far, a quick sort of recap of all my thoughts on all the episodes so far. I thought it was just quite a good idea ahead of the finale, or the start of the finale this weekend, to have a quick look back, see if we can pick out any maybe relevant points for this upcoming two-part finale, and just my thoughts over in general about the series. So of course, after the gap year essentially of last year, we started off with the pilot back a couple of months ago now, where we had the Doctor meeting Bill for the first time, or the other way around kind of thing, but it was already almost built on something that already happened off screen with the Doctor essentially tutoring Bill at this university, and the whole sort of building up of their relationship via that, which is kind of a nice, slightly different way of introducing it all, and already building up this whole why is the Doctor stuck on Earth, there's this mysterious vault, or what is in there kind of thing, which was obviously kind of the plot point for the first half of the series until, boom, it's Missy. I would say the pilot was one of the more enjoyable episodes of the series, and probably one of the better ones. It was a very nice introduction story for Bill, very much portraying her as just a normal person, which she was, unlike Clara, where it went a little bit too much down the whole impossible girl, she's the most important person ever kind of thing. Bill is just a normal person, which I think is quite nice and a bit of a change, and was really well introduced in the pilot. Past that, it was nice to see we went to quite a few different locations. We went randomly to Australia, then to some planet at the end of the Earth. We went onto some sort of Dalek ship kind of thing, which I think is meant to be set in the Time War, and all these various different locations. I mean, the plot itself, there wasn't a huge amount to it. It was mainly focused around the Doctor and Bill, and them building up that relationship. But overall, it did create a really good story and a really great way to introduce Bill and set them off on some adventures for the series. Following that, we had Smile with the rather now I think iconic emoji bots. Maybe not for the right reasons iconic, but they certainly were distinctive, shall we say, and very much a sort of character piece between the Doctor and Bill, where essentially the first half of the episode is just the Doctor and Bill kind of wandering around this place and chatting to each other. It was really a great way to kind of build up the relationship and kind of get a little bit more going between them, building up the chemistry by giving them lots of screen time together to have lots of good dialogue and conversation, and just kind of Bill trying to understand the Doctor a little bit more. It was definitely a much better effort by Frank Cockerell Boyce compared to his first episode in The Forest of the Night, which was not great, let's be honest. So it was nice to see him write something a little bit better. It was overall plot-wise, it was a pretty bog-standard episode. The visuals were stunning. It was probably one of the best visually sort of shot episodes of the series, but plot-wise there wasn't a huge amount going on, so it was one of those episodes which you're maybe not going to come back to too often, but was fairly nice as a sort of one-off romp. Moving past there, we got to Thin Ice, which was probably my favourite episode of the series up to that point, where we had the Doctor and Bill going back to 1814 to the Frost Fair on the River Thames, and sort of there was just a lot of brilliant dialogue in this episode between the Doctor and Bill, and a lot of the Doctor's sort of angst about losing a lot of people and this kind of thing, and some of the lines he had about how important life is was really brilliant. And it was a bit of a better plot, I think, for a story with this kind of monster underneath, but who wasn't really bad as such. It seemed to be a theme early on where the monster wasn't really bad. It was the same with the Vardy and Smile, and to some degree the pilot in the pilot was not really evil as such. It was just kind of trying to find a way out to escape kind of thing was what a lot of it was about. So there was some sense of reusing plots quite a lot early on in the series, it has to be said, but certainly I think Thin Ice is probably one of my more preferred episodes of the series, shall we say. Knock Knock followed that one, a sort of creepy haunted house horror story kind of thing, which isn't really my cup of tea personally. It was clearly good for the genre that it was aimed at the sort of horror haunted house kind of style, and David Suchet was absolutely brilliant in the episode. I really like him as an actor, and I think he put off a brilliant performance in that episode. Something he'd always wanted to do was be in Doctor Who, and he got that wish granted and did a great job of it. But overall, it's not really my kind of thing, so it was probably one of my least favourite episodes of the series. After that though, 4 fairly self-contained sort of more standard episodes, things started to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more interesting come episode 5 and Oxygen. Probably one of my absolute favourite episodes of the series so far, a brilliant outer space adventure by Jamie Mathieson based on this space station with sort of zombie people who are kind of infecting all the astronauts on the ship and everything and killing them all, and obviously involves the Doctor losing his sight by trying to save Bill, getting it back but not actually getting it back, and leaving the Doctor blind at the end of the episode was a pretty significant thing to happen, and was quite big at the time, I think it's fair to say. But after the events of that, we're led straight into Extremists the following week, which was my favourite episode of the series so far. I'm not going to deny that. Yes, it's a Moffat episode, but I absolutely loved the concepts and the idea of this whole simulation idea that the monks are able to completely simulate this world, and the sort of gradual build up to the reveal of that through the episode was something I think was so brilliantly crafted by Stephen Moffat and really created a brilliant reveal at the end of the story when you realise none of this is actually real. It is all a simulation, all a plan building up for the big sort of invasion in the next couple of episodes. And on the side of this episode there was also the whole plot line with Missy being revealed, that it was her in the vault, her seemingly having to be killed, sentenced to death and being killed by the Doctor, but actually not, because why would the Doctor do that? And now the Doctor is kind of looking after Missy, or kind of helping her serve her sentence, because she has a 1,000-year sentence in this vault which she's meant to stay in, and as we see through the next few episodes she might just be turning good. Episode 7, The Pyramid at the End of the World, is then the whole build-up and initiation of the invasion of Earth, with the monks of this massive pyramid in the middle of sort of a desert that suddenly appeared, which is basically their ship. And then the whole idea of lots of little mistakes leading to a catastrophic end of the world mistake, essentially, and Bill basically causing the end of the world. It was a good sort of middle of the three-parter. It was a good one. It wasn't as good as Extremists, and probably not one of my favourites, but it was a nice little way to sort of set up the invasion for then what happened in episode 8. Now with episode 8, The Lie of the Land, there was a lot of hype and it was disappointing. I can't deny it. There was a serious amount of hype about the Doctor's regeneration, which was a massive fake out, and it was rather disappointing that it was so faked and just nothing. And then the episode itself, it just kind of fell apart a little bit. The monks did nothing in the whole episode. They were just there. Then magically they were defeated by Bill remembering her mum, and then they left, and that was about it. It was just a bit of a disappointment after the build-up of 2.5 episodes. It was disappointing that it ended that way, so it's probably one of my less preferred episodes of the series, just because it was a disappointing end. And then these last couple of weeks we've had a couple of standalone episodes with the Empress of Mars, based on Mars, with Victorians heading to Mars and having to attack the Ice Warriors, because they've sort of seemingly joined up with the Ice Warriors, but actually they're just finding them for them. So then they can go on the rampage and kind of attack the Victorians, and it was a nice little combat between Victorians and Ice Warriors there, with the Doctor trying to get in between. It was definitely one of Mark Gatiss' better episodes that he's written for Doctor Who. It's not a classic, but it is a better episode, and it did feel like quite a classic Who vibe to it. So it was a more enjoyable episode of the series. There was nothing particularly spectacular about it. The Alpha Centauri cameo was a nice little moment there, but apart from that it felt fairly bog standard an episode, but still a fair bit of fun. And then we reached last week's episode, The Eaters of the Light. I spoke about it just yesterday, but quickly to round up again, it was average. It was okay. It was historical, which isn't quite my kind of thing anyway, and it just felt very much like a bog standard filler episode. Written by Rona Munro of Classic Who. She came back and wrote something that probably was better off fitting in Classic Who, to be honest with you. So it was okay, but it really wasn't particularly special. And so we reach episode 11. Here we are. It's certainly going to be an interesting one this weekend. I will leave my thoughts and theories on this episode to come a bit more for future videos over the next couple of days. But I will just round up the sort of Missy plotline of this series so far. We've seen her appearing, being killed but not being killed, then being trapped in this vault, locked up in there, and now is she actually turning good? The Doctor seems to be closer and closer to being convinced that she's actually turned good. And it looks like from the trailers for the next episode that she is going to kind of be tested on whether she's actually turning good, and it'll be fascinating to see whether she actually goes that way or not. But overall, Series 10 so far, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say it's been my favourite series. It just doesn't really feel like there's been any absolute standout episodes. I think Extremists and Oxygen, for me, are the two closest to that, which were very good stories, and I really, really enjoy them. But there just hasn't been a Heaven Sent, there hasn't been a Listen, or Mummy on the Orient Express. There just hasn't been one of those all-time classic episodes in the series so far. Maybe the next couple of weeks and the finale can change that. But so far I must say that Series 9 has been my preferred series, and I think unless this finale is an absolute stunner, one of the best sort of stories ever, I'm struggling to see how this is going to beat Series 9 for me. But there we go guys. Do let me know in the comments below what you've thought of Series 10 so far. What are your favourite episodes, your least favourite episodes, and what theories have you got for this coming episode this weekend and next weekend as well? What do you think is going to happen? Do let me know, I'd love to read it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you again very soon for another video. Goodbye.